If I had told you before the 2026 World Cup began that we would have more than 3 players fighting for the 2026 FIFA World Cup Golden Boot, you'd not have believed me. But here we are, even before the semi-finals. We have 3 players tied on 7 goals. Kylian Mbappé 7 goals, Lionel Messi 7 goals, Erling Haaland 7 goals. These players have been phenomenal for their countries. Of course, for Erling Haaland, he joined the party last night or morning, depending on the time zone you're watching that game between Brazil and Norway. And the guy was phenomenal for Norway, scoring 2 goals, emulating Brazil. For me, I think Brazil really should not even have gone past the group stages. They were terrible and bad performances, but somehow, caught up with them. But anyhow, before we dive into this video, looking at who's going to take the 2026 FIFA World Cup Golden Boot, subscribe to Hope Ampurire Sports, like, comment, share with your friends, share with everyone you know. Let them subscribe to this channel and we enjoy the World Cup as it's, goes into the final stages. So you have to ask yourself, in any other World Cup, look at the previous World Cups, we would not have had like players score more than 8 goals. In fact, since 2010, the Golden Boot winner has scored not more than 6 goals. You look at 2010, of course there were 4 players tied on 5 goals. We had David Villa for Spain, you have Diego Forlan for Uruguay, you had Wesley Sneijder for Netherlands, and then Thomas Müller for Germany. They were all tied on 5 goals, but of course there was a tiebreaker who had scored the most assists, and Germany's Thomas Müller took that World Cup Golden Boot. And then you look at 2014, James Rodriguez, 6 goals. Then 2018, Harry Kane 6 goals. And 2022 World Cup in Qatar, Mbappé had 6 goals. So why so many goals now in this World Cup? Of course, this FIFA World Cup, the 2020 FIFA World Cup, was expanded to 48 teams. 48 teams means more games, more group stage games. That's why we had the round of 32 introduced, and now into the round of 16 with a few games remaining. It means more games, more opportunities for the goal scorers who know how to put it in the back of the net to get more opportunity to score goals. That's why we see the likes of Messi, Mbappé and Erling Haaland, who score goals like as if they're just drinking water or playing football at the, like in their backyard, scoring many goals at this World Cup. And then of course you can talk about top scorers at this World Cup. There's someone who's chasing them, who's on their tail, that is Harry Kane. Harry Kane is on 6 goals. If they do beat Norway in the quarterfinals, then he goes past. If he scores also, he goes past Erling Haaland. But you have to look at the players who are who are the favorites to win the Golden Boot, the 2026 FIFA World Cup Golden Boot. You look at Lionel Messi at 39 years old. To be honest, personally, when Lionel Messi was coming to this World Cup, I was like, this guy has won the World Cup. He's the world champion. He's won literally everything that there is in the world of football. There's no pressure on him, but the guy is playing his best football. And you talk about Messi doesn't run. Messi doesn't, pass the ball anymore. He just waits for players to give him the ball and scores. But the guy is influencing games for Argentina. Scored a hat-trick against Algeria in the first game. Scored a brace against Austria in the second game, and then he called the World Cup goal scoring record. Then he broke it again. Like, he's still scoring goals. He looks like, for me, I think he's, when a player plays football like without pressure, it gives him like freedom to enjoy himself, because he knows at his age no player has ever done what he's doing at his age. And for me, that's phenomenal. And then you look at Kylian Mbappé. Kylian Mbappé belongs to the World Cup, 3 consecutive World Cups. He won it in 2018 as the youngest player to win the World Cup. And then he became the top scorer in 2022 when France lost to Argentina in the finals in Qatar. Now he's back, he's scoring goals. He's among the favorites, of course, to win the Golden Boot race, like I mentioned. But also for France, when Mbappé is scoring goals, when France is performing, the World Cup is there to lose. Even now it's theirs to lose. But of course, they have a big hurdle against Morocco in the quarterfinals. Can they get past Morocco? They did in 2022. They embraced them in the semifinals. But of course, can they do it again? That's a question for another day. And then you look at Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland, he made his name in his early days at Borussia Dortmund before he went to Manchester City. When in Manchester City, under Pep Guardiola, he became like a menace. He became like a beast in front of goal. He scores goals, intimidates very many, defenders. And of course, everyone kept talking about, if Erling Haaland wants to join the table of men to be among the best players, be among the most successful footballers in the world, he has to play the World Cup. And that was the only thing that had eluded him. Now, Norway qualifies for the World Cup after 28 years. And the guy is at the face of it all. He's taking like Norway to the next level. They're now into the quarterfinals. Can he win the Golden Boot? Of course, that's very tricky right now, considering that they're going to be taking on England. But for me, from how they've been playing from the group stages to now, eliminating Brazil, eliminating Cote d'Ivoire, even when they didn't play well, I think they have absolutely everything to take it to England and win that game. And then, like I mentioned, Harry Kane also has a big opportunity to get into the conversation. If they beat Norway, he can easily, become the top scorer again, like he did in 2018 in Russia. And of course, when you talk about the World Cup Golden Boot, you cannot fail to look at some of the records that have not been broken before. There is no player since 2002 when Ronaldo scored 8 goals that saw Brazil win their 5th World Cup from a tournament winning side. Since then, we have never had any player from a tournament winning side win that, like a player win the Golden Boot race. Sorry, the Golden Boot. Now, can they break this record? Can Messi or Kylian Mbappé, for me, who I think have like the biggest chance to win the Golden Boot race this season, this tournament? Can it happen? Then, of course, you also have to look at the long-standing, record for France's Justin Fontaine. Fontaine scored 13 goals, which is the ultimate goal-scoring record in a single World Cup in 1958, and that record is still standing. But of course, like I mentioned, this World Cup has so many games. Like we've already seen now, almost over 260 goals have been scored in these games. And with some games remaining, if Messi or Haaland or, Mbappé score a hat-trick, they could easily break that record. That's 13 goals. But of course, it's still difficult to wait and see. And for me, I think that these players have absolutely what it takes to win the Golden Boot race. But of course, it's very tricky. For Messi, in fact, he could top the charts again if he scores against Egypt tomorrow when they play that game. But of course, it's going to be very tricky. Yeah, on paper, Argentina are the favorites to win that game, but Egypt have shown that they have a very strong defense. And, Mohamed Salah, this is literally his last World Cup. And after the season he had with Liverpool, I think he wants to show the world that he can play against the best players. He's been phenomenal for Egypt, and I think he's going to put up a very great performance against Egypt. But sorry, against Argentina. So I think this is going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting, last few games to the end of the 2026 FIFA World Cup in America and Canada and, Mexico. Of course, the other 2 co-hosts are out to wait to see if USA will stay in against if they can beat Belgium. But I'd love to know, you guys, who do you think will take the 2026 FIFA World Cup Golden Boot? As it looks right now, Messi, Kylian Mbappé, Erling Haaland tied on goals. They have shown they can score goals, whether they're having a bad game, whether they're the absolute best, they can score goals. Hit the subscribe button, drop your comments, and let me know what you think. I'll see you on the next video as we talk about the other games that are still remaining in the 2024 World Cup.